Hey everyone, I'm excited today because I'm joined by Connor Coughlin. He's the Chief Customer Officer at Apex FinTech Solutions. Connor likes to call himself a financial plumber, not the type of plumber you have in mind. He has spent a defining part of his career at the absolute center of digital wealth revolution, helping power the infrastructure behind tens of millions of modern brokerages accounts. Today in our conversation, we'll try to explore different areas, including the evolution of retail investing, a couple of misconceptions, the wealth management piece and where is it heading. Anyways, Connor, welcome to the Ghassen Fintech Show.
I'm excited to be here, and I'm glad you picked up on the financial plumber thing. That actually started as a joke in my family because all growing up, my mom constantly reminded me I should become a plumber. They make good money. And so at some point along the way, I was like, you know what? We're Apex. We call ourselves plumbers of the financial industry, and I just started to use that.
Awesome. So your mom got it immediately. You just focused on the money part, not the plumbing part, probably, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's like close enough.
A portion of it was right. You see, I mean, we need to give her credit. No, but so I like it that you bring that. Like, tell me more about the original story. Like, hey, like, how did you find yourself in this space? I mean, I understand you wanted to be a plumber, but like, where? How did that go there?
Yeah, I actually never intended, I guess, purposefully to get into financial infrastructure or even finance as a whole. You know, I think I have a pretty entrepreneurial spirit. I had interned for Apex's parent company. It's a firm called Peak Six Investments. At the time, was based out of Chicago. They've moved down to Austin, but I interned there they called it a boot camp, but it was really a how to build a business boot camp. And I had this entrepreneurial spirit. I knew that I wanted to build businesses and run businesses. I really didn't care what industry it was in. I really wasn't interested in getting into traditional finance. And so I took this job, and literally they called me and they said, we want you to come work here. We don't know where you're going to live in the country, what company that we hold that you're going to work for, or what your job there is going to be. And I said, great, let's do it. And I accepted the job. I went back to school, and I didn't know where I was going to be living or what I was going to be doing. But I really liked the people. I really liked the culture. They had a whole bunch of disparate businesses. They still do operate a whole bunch of disparate businesses, everything from, fintech, obviously, to trading, insurance, ed tech, poker, esports, a whole host of things. So I didn't know what I'd be getting into. Floated around a couple of those different businesses, sort of learning the ropes, learning different challenges that, they were at the time doing a lot of sort of turnarounds. And I found myself in Apex shortly thereafter. I was supposed to be helping build out the data science team within Apex. And I was in Dallas at the time at that point. They shifted me down there and said, go to Dallas for a couple months. And 2 years later, I was still in Dallas. And I basically said, you know what, I think I'm just going to become an Apex employee full time, really lean in. I really love this work. And the rest is kind of history.
Awesome. It sounds like, the fact that you didn't know got you even more excited. So what makes Apex from that side for you as that place where you feel yourself like I can see fulfillment from here? Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I guess there's two things. What got me interested in the first place was I was just deeply frustrated by personal finances. Like, it was expensive, it was hard to invest. I had a spreadsheet I put together every first Sunday of the month. I would sit down with my coffee and I would do my budgeting, and I was downloading CSV files off of different credit card websites I was using, and sort of Plaid before Plaid was integrated to do this for you. And I was frustrated. And it was really cool. I end up at Apex. I've been at Apex for 9 years now, and Robinhood at the time was a customer, SoFi, Public, all these other massive fintech firms were or still are customers of Apex. And I saw the immediate relation to my life of, hey, we're this plumbing company. Think of it as the AWS or the Google Cloud of financial infrastructure for brokerage platforms. And I saw that the things we were building were actually the things that I wanted to use. And so suddenly I had 25 brokerage accounts. So I was going to each of our customers and opening them and seeing how they use them and saying, oh, could I use this? Could I use that? I really wish that this feature in this app and this feature in this app were both in the same app so I could have everything in one place. And so there was just a deep personal passion for me of like the financial products that are available 10 years ago sucked. And I was really frustrated by it. And I didn't have enough money to get an advisor. I barely had enough money to pay commissions on trades. And I saw what Apex was trying to do. We were trying to lower the barriers to entry. We were trying to get friction removed so that more people could invest, be it $1 or $100,000 or $1,000,000. We're a mission, vision-driven company, and we say frictionless investing for all, and we mean it. And I just felt like I was the person we were targeting, and so that's what got me going, and that's what got me really excited and passionate about the work. The thing that's kept me here is we're seeing the impact. Like it's super cool. We now have over 40 million brokerage accounts across 200 clients. We're custodying the assets of, we're approaching $300 billion of everyday people's savings and investing is held by Apex as a custodian. And we're all over the world. It's the thing that I wanted for myself that got me interested is that like it's happening. And so that's what's made me stay and just get deeper and deeper into my financial plumbing passion, I guess you'd call it.
I mean, can you share more maybe out of those kind of, I don't know, 200 platforms you're talking about, anyone like any platform that started from very like kind of early stage beginner and then now they're like with millions of accounts or something like that? Anything you can share with us, like, for whomever other platforms thinking this, what we can give our plumbing side to the Apex so we can only just grow.
Yep. Yeah. And, for the earliest years of Apex, so we've been around for 14 years. I mean, it was pretty much all startups. Everybody that came in started with 0 customers, right? So Robinhood, they've gone and they've gotten big enough. They do this themselves, but they were one of our first customers. And they came from 0. And Betterment is still a customer today. They started in 2008 from scratch, SoFi is a customer, Public.com. There's a firm, Avenue Securities out of Brazil, was one of the first firms that really took the fintech brokerage model and started from 0 in Brazil and created access to US investments. Now have millions of customers, a really broad range of products offered. And they just got bought by one of the largest banks in Brazil because they just had a fantastic product. So yeah, there's a whole host of customers that look like that. And what we're starting to see now, and maybe we get into this a little bit later, but the big legacy firms are showing up and saying, wait, we're having a really hard time with that 20, 30, 40-year-old customer that grew up on all of the apps and more that I just named, who have created a great experience, and their product has matured to a point where they are keeping pace with the sophistication demands of their customers. As the customer goes from 20 to 30 to 40, they have more assets, they have more sophisticated needs, but they're keeping up. And that's a threat to, I won't name any names, but big legacy, boring institutions that have not invested into their technology and the frictionless experience that people have come to expect. So we're seeing those firms show up now and say, hey, we need help. And so really it's flipped where we used to be serving majority startups. The world's gotten pretty saturated. Now there's big firms showing up and saying, hey, we're ready to transform. Let's go.
Interesting. And I mean, in your own words, because as you mentioned, you gave examples that ones that started early and they are still with you guys, and some they're like, okay, they become big enough, they are doing it themselves. Like, what is it that you kind of can offer to them in a kind of like plug and play way that they cannot do themselves today? Or like, you're saving them time, as you said, you're taking out all the friction. So what's what's the pitch? Where do they say, okay, amazing, I love this, I want this?
Yeah. So what do we do, right? So custodian is, I always joke, like I always wanted to work at a custodian when I grew up. It's not really the sexiest type of firm in the world, but what is it that we actually do? So what I tell people, I'm sure you know Shopify, right? You're right in the middle of the intersection of fintech. And so for anyone that's not familiar with Shopify, let's say you and I wanted to start a graphic t-shirt company. We don't know how to build a website. We don't know how to build a CRM. We don't know how payment rails work. We don't know how online marketing works. We don't know how inventory management, shipping, returns, all of the things you need to run an e-commerce site. You and I are building a t-shirt company and we want to focus on making great t-shirts. We just want a place to go sell it. And that's what Shopify gives you. And I say we are the Shopify of investing because, let's say we wanted to start a brokerage app or a financial management, wealth management platform. We would say, hey, I know how to build a portfolio. I know what good user experience design looks like. I know what types of products I want to make available and what price I want to make them available at. But what I don't know how to do is, how do I open an account in a seamless and regulatorily compliant way instantly? How do I move money from someone's bank account into their brokerage account? How do I get connected to a portfolio construction tool and a model marketplace? How do I access exchanges, wholesalers, market makers? How do I clear that trade? How do I produce statements? How do I produce confirms? How do I produce tax documents at the end of the year? How do I lend securities? How do I lend cash so people can buy securities? Like, just across the board, there's all these pieces that people just expect their brokerage or their wealth manager to be able to do that the brokerage, you're not going to your financial advisor because they have a lot of mutual funds that they can offer you, but you just expect them to have a lot of mutual funds and you're going to them because they're telling you the best one to get into or because they have a direct index platform that's going to, optimize tax savings for you. But you're not, you're going to them and they're selling you on what it's going to get you and helping you plan. They shouldn't be building that. So the same way that most companies aren't building on-prem data sites and that most online retailers aren't building out their entire infrastructure, they're focused on their product. That's where we sit. We sit at that intersection and really allow people to just focus on the app, just focus on the website, just focus on the advice, and we'll take care of the rest.
I think basically the key word here is focus. It's basically not in their focus. I mean, they should do what they know how to do best, t-shirts, for example, and leave the plumbing to the specialist from that side. But I think with all of this, let's offer some value to the audience. I'm pretty sure you know a thing or two that most people don't know. I want to hear that from you. It can be misconception, it can be whatever, something like you see the word is going there and actually, no, you guys need to look at the other side. Share something with me and with the listeners so we can, at the end of all this exchange, people are like, okay, I didn't think about this.
Yeah, and I know a lot of your listeners are entrepreneurs. I would say the thing we see is you got to push it. You got to push the limit. Our most successful customers are the ones willing to take risk. They are willing to not let perfect be the enemy of good. They're willing to get out a little bit over their skis. They are always acting they don't want to be misconstrued. They're always acting with the customer's best interest, but they are going to push it. And those best customers they're always feeling, they'll tell you they're just on the edge. And if you're just going a rote path and you're not pushing the limits, you're not going to differentiate, you're not going to move fast enough, you're not going to show responsiveness to your customer, and you're not going to win. It's too crowded. You got Schwab and Fidelity and Robinhood and Vanguard. Those firms have good products. They're slower and they're behind. Robinhood obviously a little different. They're pushing the limits in a different way. But for our customers that are starting something new, or for legacy institutions saying I need to go compete with the massive incumbents, they have to. It starts with the leader. There's no oh, this is a startup or this is a legacy firm and therefore it will or won't be successful in modernizing. The leader needs to be willing to take risk. And that is something we see time and time and time again. We have signed some of the biggest institutions in the world who completely fail to get an app into the App Store to compete in a digital way because they are just unwilling to move. And when I say move, it's not that they can't get things done, it's that the compliance and legal and this person has opinion and this new business is going to conflict with that, but gotta sort of disrupt yourself, you gotta be willing to take risk. And that's the thing, is there a leader that is willing to shut out the noise and drive forward and take that risk?
I mean, speaking of risk and where we are today, a lot of things that are happening. We're speaking about the agentic word, AI everywhere. I mean, it's an achievement 15 minutes into this chat and we didn't mention the word AI. You see, that's amazing. If you think about all those technologies, real-time systems changing everyday people's life and so on, I'll ask you the question that is very tough to answer, but do your best. Where do you see fintech, financial services in general going? I'm not asking for the next 5 years because we don't even know next week, but let's say in the next 2-3 years, and especially if you can double down on the angle of digital wealth management, advisory, things like that. Yeah, share more with me on that side.
Yeah, and I appreciate we haven't beat the AI word to death here. Like AI is central to everything we're doing, everything our customers doing, but I actually hate the term. I've always said this to people around me. I hate the term fintech because if you're a financial firm and you're not a technology firm at this point, you've already lost. And so, we can say AI till we're blue in the face, but it's like forget about even products going out to our customers. Like everything your employees should be doing all day should be leveraging AI tools. If it's writing code, if it's doing research, if it's communicating with one another, if it's building a presentation, if it's building a financial model, you are behind if you are not hitting AI all day, every day. And that's a cultural thing of a firm. And so back to the fintech point, it's like, yes, every successful financial firm needs to be a fintech at this point. Every firm in the world needs to be an AI native firm. Like that goes without saying for me. And then I think it just seeps into the products that you're creating. And you're putting it there because it's going to make people's lives easier, cheaper, faster, smarter, whatever it is. But if the people building the products are using AI to build the products, they're going to just innately deploy AI into their products as they're using it. And so I think there's a whole lot of fuss and hubbub about like this new AI product that we like. It just everything you should be doing should be AI centric. And so, what does that mean for the future of advice? And I just come back to, I think I'm not going to focus on the AI piece because I think people are like, can the AI trade for you? I mean, to me, the strategy are the strategies, and not all the strategies are actually about generating excess alpha for people. Very rarely does the advisor that's committing to beat the market, the advisor that you actually want to use, like that's a hedge fund and that's for a different type of investor. So, if the models, especially the everyday Americans or everyday anyone in the world, but someone investing in the US market, if the model they're using is driven by AI, that's great, but all the models are going to get smarter, and then your alpha is going to look different and change. And so like I'm less focused there. I'm more focused on the other pieces. How easy is it to open the account? How cheap is it to we way overpay. It is disgusting to me that we pay advisors 1%. Like it is gross. They like, and a good advisor should really be somebody that is thinking about your entire holistic financial life. They're thinking about what does your retirement look like, how many kids you have, what's your earning potential, what happens if you lose a job, all the different pieces you have to think about, an illness you may have or someone may have, and like all these pieces coming together. The advisors, they're not like they're not there to beat the market. They're there to help you. Like, hey, I got RSUs and I don't know what to do with the taxes, or hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. I have a surgery coming up. Should I do it this year or do it next year? What do you think about that? With me? Like, those are the pieces. And so for me, the future of advice and wealth management, whether it's self-directed trading or if it's long-term investing, it's about using either a human or AI at the right place when you have the right question, and it's about feeding the right data into that. So it's you can have an AI bot spit out an answer and then have a human read it to you if that's what makes you feel better, or you can just read the AI bot because that's as good of an answer as you're going to get. But it's about meeting people, aggregating the right data, and getting this really valuable advice to them much, much cheaper. Like you're seeing a lot more subscription-based, flat fee wealth management and planning tools out there, and that is 100% the future because it's just, I can't emphasize enough how gross it is to me, this asset-based model at 1% to call you once a quarter and tell you something off a screen that some other system already generated for the advisor. It's just like the future of this is self-service. You shouldn't have to call someone in the back office to send a wire or do something. It should just all be there. It should be easy. It should be innate, and that to me is the future. But we're still well behind that.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how far are we from that future, you think?
The availability of these things is there today. You look at somebody like a Facet Wealth or a Range, Zoe Finance, like that. There's platforms that use Apex and they use humans. Like my push is not an anti-human push, but they use AI and they use humans and they use technology and they're optimizing to say, hey, how do we lower the minimum account size? How do we lower the access barriers and meet people where they want to be with the product that they want to have? Like those products are out there, but that is, you're talking about tens of trillions of dollars that are floating around the wealth industry today. So these models exist and they are catching fire, but even if they're adding billions of dollars a year of assets into those platforms, it's still 0.01% of the industry as a whole and the movement in that industry. And it's a generational thing, right? So you have two problems. Like You have the older generation, 60, 70 years old. They're going to be like life expectancy keeps pushing. People are going to push past 90 and 100, and they're not necessarily going to go fire their advisor. Like they're not going to go download one of the apps I just named and use this augmented advice model where it's part human, part technology, mostly self-service. They're gonna keep using their advisor, and that advisor is gonna roll their book to somebody. And me, the 30-something that is still accumulating assets and doesn't have the doesn't want, frankly, to hire a human advisor. Like it's just gonna take time for my account to mimic the 70-year-old's account to be able to be a large portion of where the assets sit in the industry. And like that's just the reality is like, yeah, if you're an advisor that's been doing it for a while, like you're pretty safe. You're good. There's no reason to change. But for me or you, for younger people that are looking at what is the compounding cost of that 1% over the next 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, like we should care about going to a place where we're paying a fairer fee and getting a lot more value for it. And if you can get the value out of the 1%, great. Then you should definitely charge that for the value you're providing to people.
Super interesting. Super interesting. I mean, we all use some level of wealth management products in a way or another, even directly or indirectly, because at the end of the day, think about it, if you have any bank account where you have some money deposited, that money is not sitting idle in a way. Right? So I like the idea. You think like, okay, well, so it's kind of like you're saying we have a generational kind of like challenge plus kind of some level of adoption. You see, so at the end of the day, humans communicating with digital products today, like we're speaking about the agentic world where you just like have now you have agent to agent dating apps. You see, if we are able to do that, I think we are able to have an agent wealth manager in a way. Probably regulation will need to play a role there too, right? So it's another angle to take into account. But yeah, I like how you see the future. We're very aligned there. I'm also thinking like, but it's super interesting because as a founder as well, I pathologically see only positive things. I'm seeing it closer than ever. But in the same way, that's the reality what is happening in our world. Any final words, Connor? You want to share? Any thoughts? Before we close this?
No, I think I got on my soapbox enough for you, so I'll leave it there. I really appreciate you having me on the show, and I hope to be back at some point.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Connor. It was a pleasure having you. I'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.